stuff, Rich. So Rich believes Trey Lance should be quarterback 2. So after the game, waiting in the parking lot, I fire off a tweet. Through the eyes of 49er fans, who's their better option as QB2? Trey Lance or Sam Darnold? There's nearly 2,500 votes, Shasky. 74.5% says Trey Lance should be QB2. If I ask you right now, going into the season, who would you like to see at QB2? Who gives you the best chance to win if Brock Purdy goes down?
That's a very complicated question. Or
do you need to see another preseason game between the two?
Just me? I'm just telling you what I need. I'm keeping all 3 quarterbacks. That's what I would do. If I was running this team, I would keep all 3 quarterbacks.
Would you cut Brandon Allen?
I probably would, yes. Yeah. I probably would. That's me. Now, is there something to be said for example, there is a financial component to what's going on right now. Trey Lance is owed a lot of money this year, $10 million. Even if they cut him, you still have to pay him for this year. It's about next year's cap, right? And we could argue about who deserves money next year and who doesn't, and what moves they can and can't make and all that. But there is a financial component, and I understand the financial element. But this is why I paid Parag. Like, Parag, you're supposed to be one of the great cap massagers in the game. Figure it out, dude. If one team could spend a little more on a guy who's not going to play because of the quarterback room, it'd be this team. The team that has used 3 quarterbacks at minimum in 5 of the 6 years of Shanahan. So I'm keeping all 3. I think it oscillates back and forth between Sam Darnold and Trey Lance. Right now, I think Sam's got a slight edge on him. But, ask me week 5, week 7, week 9. Things can change. I'm watching a player in Trey Lance who it looks like to me the more he plays, the better he gets. I think Sam, right off the rip, looks good, but you're capped on him.
There's a
I'm
ceiling.
very conflicted on Sam Darnold, B. I'm very conflicted on him. Not that Trey's blowing me away and he's head and shoulders above Darnold. I can see the flashes with Trey Lance. And to me, I'm a sucker for talent, high-end talent. And I can see that there are some mistakes that are really bad. But then I see some high-end, deep-cut throws where I'm like, some of these other guys just don't have that.
Yeah,
I'm tantalized by what could be. And maybe that's a false pretense.
If I had to pick right now, if you ask me that same question, Shasky, I'm rolling with Trey Lance as QB2. And has he had the better preseason than Darnold? That's debatable. It is.
We're also not there at practice.
We're not there at practice.
So it's really hard to tell.
We don't know how the players feel.
That's another element.
The players may tell you they want Sam Darnold. Who knows? I like Trey's upside so much more. You see it. You're seeing what they saw when they selected him number 3 overall. Now, some people will say, well, Bonta, calm down. It's 3rd and 4th stringers. But for Trey Lance, it felt like he was playing for his 49ers career. And he needs to play. And so when he got into a rhythm and he started throwing darts, he was throwing on time, with anticipation, on the money, tight windows, between the numbers. You can't teach that stuff. And then his escapability. Last week against the Raiders, he looked very slow and stiff. This week, at times when he did get out the pocket, he looked more decisive,
he did.
Which makes him look quicker and faster getting out the pocket.
He is coming off an injury.
He is.
Right?
That we don't talk about.
He hasn't played for 10 months. I want you to close your eyes, all right, the audience. I'm going to give you player X against 3rd and 4th stringers. Player X, 30 of 49. That's about a 61% completion. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. An 80 quarterback rating. Close your eyes. Against 3rd and 4th stringers. Who is that? That's Brock Purdy last year. So we can talk about stats all we want, but sometimes your eyes have to tell you something. Right. And that's the thing with Sam Darnold. He'll make a really nice throw, but then I look up and I'm like, well, they're not sustaining drives.
Right.
They're punting a lot. They're not scoring. You got to score. That's like my number one thing on Brock Purdy. If we're just like
you're scoring. You're scoring touchdowns.
The ball moves. The team drives. They score points. I look at Darnold and I'm like, yeah, there's times it looks the part, but I look up and it's like punt, punt. You're not in the red zone. You're not kicking field goals.
How does Shanahan feel about this situation? How does Shanahan feel about Sam Darnold? How does John Lynch feel about Sam Darnold? Let's go to the lines as you are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for the best and most up-to-date sports coverage. And do not forget, you can also watch us every single day on our YouTube and Twitch streams, sponsored by our very good friends at First NorCal Credit Union. Just log on and search 95.7 The Game. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel while you are there. Let's go to Larry in San Francisco. Larry, what's happening, man? Who should be QB2?
Oh, my gosh. You know what, man? I slammed Trey Lance, dude. I said he doesn't belong in the NFL, and I said all this good stuff about him. I mean, all this bad stuff about him last week. You know what, man? He impressed me last night. I mean, he impressed me the other day. You know, that's the best I've seen him play in 3 years. I mean, he's never moved the ball.
Yeah.
You know, but man, dude, I was so impressed. I mean, people say, "Oh, it was against third stringers." I said, "Yeah, but he's playing with third stringers."
Exactly.
What about Sam Darnold? What about Sam Darnold,
Larry's
Larry?
one of the biggest Trey critics. I'm really surprised.
What about Sam Darnold? What about Sam Darnold, Larry?
Oh man, Sam Darnold. You know, Sam Darnold needs to stay on the team. He needs to be a third. You know the thing about Trey Lance, this dude's had a broken ankle, not a broken finger, a broken ankle.
Yeah.
You know, he could tweak that ankle again easily in a game. You know, keep him number 3, dude. I mean, what are you going to spend $14 million on quarterbacks this year?
Yeah.
You know,
well, that's the goal.
$14 million on Jimmy G.
That's still a bargain.
It is.
To have 3 quarterbacks at $14 million as opposed to 1 quarterback at $35. The Niners are winning right now. You got your starting quarterback not even making $1 million. Trey Lance obviously on his rookie deal making about 10.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold making a minimum of $3.5 million. Look, man, the upside and flashes with Trey Lance, I was genuinely happy for him because he faced adversity. And you had SportsCenter. By the way, SportsCenter didn't even watch it again. He said, "Oh, another dismal performance by Trey Lance."
I don't know.
It's like, what are you doing?
I'm going to give you a couple players. So everyone's going to point to Alex Smith as somebody who, you know, the underwhelming nature of the early part of his career, and then when he finally ascended. Let me give you a guy on the current team. We were talking about Eric Armstead at the break, you and I. Eric Armstead, if you look at the first couple years of Eric Armstead, he was in the wrong scheme. He kept getting hurt. You weren't seeing impact. I didn't think he was an NFL defensive lineman. Forget starter. I wasn't even sure Eric Armstead was an NFL D lineman. I mean, how dumb does that sound in retrospect?
Right.
But go back, Niner fans. Go back to 2018. What did everybody say? There's not one player on this defensive line who's good. Maybe Buckner. Maybe. Right? And then they draft Bosa, and then, boom, Eric Armstead has this monster step-up season. He gets a big contract, and a lot of people thought it was a bad contract.
Right.
I think he's been one of the best Niners. You could say, like, top 5 Niner.
He's always in a lineup.
Right? Why are we ready to condemn the 23-year-old and say what he is or isn't? I would like to keep him. The thing that I look at, like, do I really want Sam Darnold being the number 2 and running the scout team every single week? Is that going to make my defense better? Is that going to make my quarterback ready to play? I don't know, because I'm looking at a guy in game who loves to take the quick check down. And I get that, like, there's a hot read and you want to get rid of it and not take a sack, but you got to push the ball down the field.
I just see a guy in Sam Darnold, and I'm projecting here.
Yeah.
Say he's playing against Pittsburgh and T.J. Watt is breathing down his neck. I don't think Darnold responds well to pressure. I just don't. He could make all the throws. You see the arm talent. You see the zip coming off his heads. I'll give him that. He had an okay first half. I thought it was solid. I thought he anticipated.
Yeah.
And being there in real time, I thought Darnold looked okay.
He took a lot.
He looked okay.
He took a lot of. I thought good throws. My favorite
threw
throw.
a lot of slants. I mean, look, Darnold looked okay.
Was really nice.
I'm just saying,
really nice.
If the pocket gets muddied, I don't think he's going to respond well to that. I see a turnover waiting to happen, whether it's fumbles in the pocket, whether it's throwing in triple coverage or double coverage. I just think if Darnold gets pressured, and we're going to see it, I just don't think he responds well to it.
You notice that when the offensive line, and the same thing happened to Trey Lance, but the offensive line in front of him was horrible. Like, horrible. His best throw negated by a hold. Zakel and what's the Feliciano?
Right.
They looked so bad.
It looked overwhelmed.
It affected his psyche in the pocket.
No doubt.
I saw a guy who was like very afraid, which I think that would happen to a lot of quarterbacks. But part of what makes Brock Purdy so good and so special right now is the guy's resilient and he's making plays when there isn't one. And that was the part when I saw the play from Trey Lance where he stepped up in the pocket, scrambled to the left, flipped his hips, and threw it downfield. I said, oh, boy, that's what we're waiting to see. An off-schedule throw, making a play where there is none. I still haven't seen Darnold make a play where there isn't one.
It's true. It's a good point. He'll scramble here.
Name one.
He'll scramble here and there. But
Yeah,
like,
he scrambled
you look at the 3rd and 15, and you're sliding on 3rd and 15. It's like you got no shot to get the first down. You have to punt. I just don't. The upside with Trey is just too much. Too much for me. The Darnold fascination I don't get. Let's go to Robin in San Francisco. Robin, what's happening?
Hey, good morning to the both of you. So I called in to get my morning call in before I'm working, and then I have to go to my second job at 2 o'clock. So, you guys, I agree with Shasky's assessment about who should be playing. I need to see a little bit more. If Purdy was to go down, I don't trust neither one of the quarterbacks back up.
I kind of
Trey has talent, and I'm glad that he's improving, he's competing. Shasky liked his footwork later on. I thought it was sloppy at first.
It was.
I still think I think his footwork is questionable.
Who's that, Darnold or Trey? Trey?
His first 2 drives, she's right.
Oh, his footwork was terrible.
Was bad.
Footwork was awful.
But he settled in.
And that bothers me. And Darnold, I agree. After, seeing ghosts, I wonder if he can, take the pressure. So, I just think that the verdict is still out and need to see more. I will say Darnold he doesn't really know the offense like, maybe Trey hasn't played, but he does know, has an edge there. But Darnold has a little bit more experience. So, I just need to see a little bit more. And I think I want to see Trey succeed, but I think people are really speaking from emotions. We just haven't seen enough.
No doubt.
Guys.
No doubt. Let's go to TC real quick up at SAC. TC, what's happening? TC. Oh, TC, call back. 888-957-9570.
I think she's selling Trey a little short.
888-957-9570. 650 Xfinity Mobile. Text line, you guys are normally my favorite show, but making up these narratives is lame. There's 0% chance
no one said that.
Trey is cut. Nobody said Trey's cut.
I don't think anyone said that.
We didn't say that at all. And newsflash, bots, hey, quarterbacks that get pressure usually struggled. Well,
that's what makes Joe Burrow so special.
Yeah, but Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jalen
gets
Hurts,
pressured on 40-something% of his snaps.
And he still makes throws.
He's one of the best.
You either stand up in front of pressure, like Trey did late in that football game Saturday night, where he did get pressured and he made things happen, or you get pressured and you wilt. You get pressured and you bounce balls. You get pressured and start throwing high. You get pressured and start leaving the pocket earlier than you should be, or not stepping up in the pocket. The great ones get pressured and they eat it up.
Well, the thing on Trey Lance, what I was most encouraged with, I feel like the biggest criticism that I can have for him as a quarterback, he doesn't throw with any anticipation. He almost has to see the play be wide open, and then he can rip it, right? And there's a lot of guys. Kaepernick was that way, right, at times. But I watched him in this game. He made 4 anticipation-type throws that, to me, was like, whoa.
We got better.
We're getting better.
It's almost like the kid needs to play.
Well, which is why I go back to this 3rd preseason game. To me, I don't want to see Brock at all. I know what I got in Brock. Brock's ready to roll. He's my QB1. Right. This is about figuring out Darnold versus Trey in terms of the pecking order for right now. And you know what? I think everybody thinks it's static. Like, if Darnold wins the number 2 job, he's number 2 the whole year. Are we sure? Are we sure?
We'll see.